Joker stars Joaquin Phoenix and was directed by Todd Phillips, who of recent past was just making raunchy comedies. He would make the movies like The Hangover, Due Date, War Dogs, Old School. So he was pretty much just locked down to that comedy movie making role. And then he decided to make this movie, The Joker. And this is an origin story for the character, the Joker. It's a deep dive character study into what made him the way that he is, what's his past, what led him to become this crazy psychopathic villain, arch nemesis of the Batman. Now, this movie doesn't have Batman in it. It has his parents in it. It takes place in 1981, I believe. So this was before Batman is around. But it is all about this character, Arthur Fleck. And he's just this beat down guy who lives in Gotham. And he just has a terrible, terrible life. He is a party clown, like part-time. He's, spins signs for businesses. But he has a lot of mental illnesses. He's very, very broken down. Now, this entire movie is from Arthur's point of view. There aren't any scenes where he is not involved or that he is the central figure of it. And I thought that that was a very, very interesting perspective to give us in this movie. Now, we might not notice it, but most movies that we watch are third-person omniscient movies where we're able to bounce around from the good guy to the bad guy to the side characters and just see all the working cogs of the story. But this movie is solely based on Arthur becoming the Joker, and that's why I thought it was really, really cool that every scene was just centrally focused on him, and there are just a lot of subtle parts of Joaquin Phoenix's performance that show his devolving into madness and becoming this psychopath, the Joker. Now, before I get much further into my review, I do want to talk about some of the controversy surrounding Joker. About a month ago, this movie aired in some film festivals where some critics got to watch it way before any of us did. And at that point, there were people who just said, this is a revolutionary movie, this is amazing. Joaquin Phoenix is just going to, walk away with that lead acting Oscar. And then there were some people who walked away and they were very concerned about kind of the violence in it and the radicalization of the character Joker and how he is devolving from this person who just has mental illness into being the psychopath Joker who we all know. They started to kind of question the motives of the people involved in making this movie. They started to kind of attack Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips in interviews, ask them very, accusatory questions about their motives or what kind of part they have to play in things that are happening in, today's time where, there are a lot of violent things that happen. Now, I understand where some of those critics are coming from and how they're worried about some of the evil things that happen today, and they don't want people to latch onto something like that and think that that's a good thing to do, or to think that as a society we're going to idolize that. But what they also need to understand is that this character is the Joker. He's a psychopath. He's always been a psychopath. And if we're going to have this movie, there is no other way to have it. You can't water down this movie and think that it's going to be as good as it is. This movie is solely effective because of Joaquin Phoenix's vision of the Joker and how he and Todd Phillips kind of laid out the mental landscape for this character and kind of the path that he goes on to becoming the Joker. When this idea was pitched, we all knew what it was going to be. It's like this guy, it's an origin story for the Joker. Who's the Joker? He's a murdering psychopath. So this transition in this movie is not going to be a pretty sight. There are so many things in this movie that just make you cringe. I was like on the edge of my seat and I was like writhing at some points in the movie just because of my own like mental discomfort of what I was seeing. That is what makes this movie effective. If this movie isn't making you turn in your seat when you're seeing this guy become this crazy psychopath, there's a problem either with you seeing the movie or with the filmmakers, and they didn't do their job right. In my mind, when I think about people's criticisms of the Joker, I think about my favorite TV show, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is all about characters making bad decisions and then at times finally making some good decisions for a couple of them, but mostly it's just a series of bad decisions and the psychology behind that. That's pretty much what the Joker is. It has like a lot of mental illness thrown in there, so it's a little bit different. If you're not able to watch something where you're seeing people make bad decisions and you can't just like look at that and be like, although I'm watching this, I obviously know that the people who are involved in making this movie are acknowledging that it is not good, but it's not going to prohibit them from telling the story. And that's how I view Joker. Now, aside from the controversy, I think that it's most fair to look at Joker just as one contained film. This movie isn't really going to tie into DC, at least that's what everyone at Warner Brothers and at DC have been saying. This is just a standalone movie. Joaquin Phoenix is not really in the business of entering into a franchise and just coming into a lot of movies. He's more particular in what he chooses and the characters that he chooses to portray. And that's why he's really perfect to play Joker in this movie. The way that he portrays it is amazing. I don't know if he is better than Heath Ledger, if he, is just not quite as good as Heath Ledger. I see those two performances as just being totally separate things. Heath Ledger's Joker was put up against Christian Bale's Batman, and there was definitely in that movie just like good versus evil, this chaos versus Batman trying to keep Gotham from turning to chaos and keeping the Gotham citizens just out of like their worst tendencies. So there's a whole different feel of this movie. Now, Joaquin Phoenix is playing Arthur Fleck, becoming the Joker. Most of this movie, he is portraying Arthur Fleck, a guy who's just beaten down by the world around him. Everyone's just so mean to him. He gets physically assaulted in a lot of the parts of the movie, and then he just has a lot of people being rude and making fun of him. And he also has a lot of mental illness and relationship issues with people in his life. And he's not all the way there to the craziness that Heath Ledger was in the entirety of his movie. So it's kind of hard for me to put these two performances together and kind of like rank them. I know Jared Leto is my least favorite Joker of all. I'll just throw that out there. But for Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger, I think that we can just hold them both as just amazing performances. And Todd Phillips creates this very unique way of portraying Gotham that I don't think that I've seen before. We've had, the Tim Burton view, which was just like this kind of gothic 80s view of Gotham. And that kind of bled into how we're all going to see Gotham for the next couple decades. That's how we see it in Batman the Animated Series and a lot of representations in the comics. Then Christopher Nolan took Gotham and he made it kind of a more modern feel. It was still like this dark, dingy, dirty city that needed to be cleaned up, that was in need of a savior like Batman. And then we have Batman vs. Superman, and Gotham is not even memorable in that movie. It's like right across the way from Metropolis, I guess. Don't even get me started with that, but it overall is just forgettable. Now, Todd Phillips' version of Gotham just feels a lot more alive than other versions of Gotham that we've seen in other movies. And this is because Arthur Fleck is more of a normal person. He blends into people around in Gotham, and he has a lot more interactions with normal individuals and citizens of Gotham. And in this version of Gotham, you just see a very big divide between the poor and the wealthy. You just feel this huge divide and this tension being cranked up as the movie progresses. Todd Phillips creates a perfect tone for this movie. It's just very dark, depressing, and it's backed up by these really creepy soundtracks and songs. Also, it is just shown through Joaquin Phoenix's performance. You can't say enough good stuff about Joaquin Phoenix's performance. It's insane. Literally. It's amazing that this story even exists or was made. So many movies are just thrown out, scripts are tossed out the window that are potentially very good, but for some reason studios just don't want to make them. And the fact that this little movie was made about the Joker's origin story, and it was probably made on a really tiny budget, it's just amazing. It exists. And for Batman fans like me, Batman's my favorite superhero. And the fact that I got this movie, I'm just so grateful for it. I'm going to be giving Joker a grade out of the new scale that I created for my channel, and it is my highest grade. Joker is a masterpiece.
You bow to no one.
If you don't like dark, creepy movies, maybe don't watch this movie. It is very dark. It is sad. If you can handle it, watch it. It's an amazing movie. Thank you guys for watching my video. If you could, press the like button. That would help me out. Tell your friends about my videos and my channel. That would also help me out. Press the subscribe button, the notification button. Follow me on Instagram at Jared Gilster. There you can see when I'm going to be releasing new videos. And I'll see you guys next time.